That's thrilling.
Released in 1986 and written by John Hughes, Pretty in Pink stars Molly Ringwald as a high school girl who lives on the wrong side of the tracks and begins dating Andrew McCarthy, who comes from a wealthy family. The movie is perhaps most notable for how Molly Ringwald's character offers a very strong feminist lead. She is strong and confident about who she is. She doesn't yield to external pressures. And not only is she the guiding force in her relationship with Andrew McCarthy, but she is the mature guiding force in her father's life as well.
What about you?
If somebody doesn't believe in me, I can't believe in them.
You don't lie, do you?
I don't have to lie.
John Hughes movies are laudable for how they approach teenage life with a high degree of seriousness, and so it is important to consider that context when evaluating it. Clearly, I am not the target audience, and am now evaluating it through different eyes. The movie isn't particularly cheesy, but there are a few moments with enhanced sentimentality and emotional ornamentation. The first scene that I want to assess for potential cheesiness occurs early in the film. Molly Ringwald has a part-time job at a local record shop owned by the awesome Annie Potts.
Hello, Ghostbusters. Yes, of course they're serious.
Potts and Ringwald are discussing the upcoming high school prom, and then McCarthy enters the store. At this point in the movie, the Molly Ringwald and Andrew McCarthy characters have shared some glances in their high school hallways, but they haven't spoken to each other yet.
Put that back!
You missed my eye by an inch.
Half an inch. This ain't the public library, light fingers. I'll get it.
Clearly, the instrumental music is heavy with some sort of emotional layering. There's very little ambiguity as to what is being suggested with its sound, and it serves as a kind of screaming red alert to the audience that there is shared romantic chemistry between Molly Ringwald and Andrew McCarthy. Now, I don't want to be too critical of the use of this music in this scene because as a teenager, you do feel things with the intensity that this music implies. So in fact, it is representative. Roger Ebert put it nicely in his review, stating, "My favorite moments were the quietest ones, in which nothing was being said because a boy was trying to get up the courage to ask a girl out on a date, and she knew it, and he knew it, and still nothing was happening." To be able to listen to such a silence is to understand the central dilemma of adolescence, which is that one's dreams are so much larger than one's confidence.
Take the bus. Take a cab.
How you doing?
Just take your
Fine.
butt off my
Good.
lap.
Can I help you?
care.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I get your opinion on something here?
Don't.
Maybe.
Tyrone. Oh,
Is this any good?
oh, the things I take for sticks and stones, Tyrone.
It's hot.
Sticks and
White hot.
stones.
Good, I'll take it.
I can really relate to this scene scenario because perhaps the single best moment of my entire life occurred in a very similar situation, where I asked a girl out that I really liked, just like this. That said, the instrumental is extremely heavy-handed, and when watching this scene today, it is hard to receive it cleanly as a viewer. The music is culturally misaligned with how this scene would likely be created today.
Library, light fingers.
Later in the movie, Ringwald and McCarthy are finishing their first date. It didn't go well. McCarthy's wealthy friends reject Ringwald, and then later, Ringwald's lower-class friend rejects McCarthy. After the date, McCarthy drops her off at home. When he asks Ringwald to go with him to the upcoming high school prom, she excitedly kisses him. After about 20 seconds of various aggressive hand movements and some elated piano music, we're given a shot with very specific portrait-like framing from the camera as the two characters stand in front of his car. Notice how the background is completely washed out to black, and they're framed almost as if it is a perfectly framed painted image. There's no visual of the background contents of her street, which we had seen just seconds before when they pulled up in his car. Our focus is streamlined and placed entirely upon them and them alone, perhaps in the director's attempt to capture the intensity of what they were feeling in that moment, or perhaps to emphasize clearly to the audience that this is a significant defining moment. A related example is the Ecto-1 in Ghostbusters, in which the car leaves the fire hall through an inexplicable fog. It's likely that if such a scene were created today, the scene would represent the background contents in a more literal, realistic way. In this scene from Sean Penn's Into the Wild from 2007, take note of the realistic background contents when the truck is placed in a portrait-like framing of the camera. Notice how there is no sentimental background music, and how, despite Hal Holbrook's single tear running down his cheek, the scene really isn't that cheesy at all.
I had an idea. You know, my mother was an only child, and so was my father, and I was their only child. So when I'm gone, I'm the end of the line. My family will be finished. What do you say? You let me adopt you. I could be, say, your grandfather.
Could we talk about this when I get back from Alaska? Would that be okay?
Yeah. We can do that, yeah.
All right, Ron. Thank you.
I'm not sure yet if a character's acknowledgement of the audience is a common 80s trope, or simply a common John Hughes technique, but I'm including it here because currently it is a curiosity for me. In this scene, Molly Ringwald tells her best friend Ducky that she is going to go for it romantically with Andrew McCarthy, and thus, not him. Ducky has unrequited feelings for her. Ducky turns away to find that someone else is interested in him, none other than the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer herself.
You want me to go to the graveyard with you because I'm the chosen one and there are vampires?
The typical literary terminology for this would be breaking the fourth wall, but I'm currently wondering if there may be something a bit more to this. As another example, Tom Cruise hams it up a bit oddly on numerous occasions in Risky Business.
Your stats are very respectable. Done some solid work here. But it's not quite Ivy League now, is it?
You know, Bill, there's one thing I've learned in all my years. Sometimes you gotta say, what the make you move.
I beg your pardon?
So, how we doing?
It's like University of Illinois.
I'm currently wondering if the use of this technique goes beyond simply breaking the fourth wall and is actually an embodiment of a strange 80s feeling of self-importance, self-involvement, and superficial individualism, which is a common understanding of the 80s decade in general. Now, clearly, I have barely begun to research the history of breaking the fourth wall, so a single clip of Tom Cruise doesn't prove a thing in the world of academia. But as I have said, this research project is happening in real time and is in progress. At the moment, I would classify breaking the fourth wall as a curiosity that I'm exploring.